Everyone, welcome to another edition of Founder Wisdom Podcast. Today with us, we have Stuart Prestedge. He is founder and CEO of software startup founders.academy. It's going to be a cool conversation. So Stuart, can you introduce yourself and tell us a bit more about software startup founders?
Hi, yes. So my name's Stuart, as you said, and I'm basically a serial founder. I've been founder of software startups for coming up to 35 years now, and I've actually lost count the number of companies and products that I've created. Some successful exits, some failures, of course, which, an opportunity for learning. And about 5 years ago, I thought, I really want to help other people, to help other founders to succeed, to create their startups. So I started advising founders, loved it, and it was very ad hoc. And then earlier this year, I decided to kind of formalize it a little bit. So I started creating the Academy, and then that was officially launched about a month ago, just over a month ago. And the idea is that the Academy helps founders to grow, to move forward, through their decisions and their problems, and ultimately to succeed. And the way that that is done is through community, which is very important. I'm a member of a number of communities, and it's invaluable the support you get from the community. Through coaching, so regular group coaching calls where we discuss topics and discuss people's issues and help them, and content. So we have the Academy has lots of content, training videos, interviews, documents that are needed, to actually create product, for your software startup.
After 30 years as a founder and CTO, what have you learned from startups, and what tips could you give to founders that are in the midst of this huge adventure?
Yeah. Well, it is an adventure, and it's a long journey. So you have to be in it for the long haul. And I'm fortunate that I'm technical. So I'm fortunate that I can create product myself, although I'm a terrible designer. So I always get, designers to make the products look nice. But I would say there's two things I would say. So if you're non-technical, I would say don't rush to speak to a developer, because I liken it to building a house. If you wanted to build a house, you wouldn't go straight to a bricklayer and say, build me a house. You would go to an architect. You'd go to a project manager who's done this before and can design the house properly. So take your time as a founder, and there's a lot that founders can do themselves. With the help of people like myself, there's a lot that founders can do themselves before going to developer, which really helps, get an accurate quote, keep the costs down, etc. But also, so that's kind of non-technical founders. If you're a technical founder and you can write the software yourself, I would say don't underestimate everything else that goes around it. Don't underestimate the difference between just writing a piece of software that solves a problem or meets a need, and actually creating a production ready software and a business and a team and everything that goes around that. So there's a lot that goes around just the core proposition.
Got it. And if you're non-technical, what type of value can you add to a startup? And while your founder builds, what can you actually do in the meanwhile?
So the value that I add, and that is one of the things that the Academy provides, is that I like to think of so when you start out, you've got an idea, and as well as validating, or part of validating that idea, you need to turn that kind of mess of thoughts into kind of a set of documentation. Now, I always liken the requirements document as the cornerstone of what you're trying to build, because it's used for so many things. So that the value that founders will get is help with just turning their all their thoughts into a set of documentation, and that can be used if they're pitching for investment, for example, and the documents that go with it that go towards making that up. So that helps with pitching for investment. Now, I know that market fit isn't always done up front, so you don't always know exactly what you're going to build up front, and that's fine, but you have to draw the line somewhere and say, we're going to build this to start with. But the requirements document helps with getting quotes from developers, and it then helps the designers to make sure that things are designed properly, the architects, everything's designed properly. It helps when you're testing your product to make sure the requirements are met. So I would say the main value that I provide as part of the academy and outside of the academy as well is help with going through that whole process from the idea through the documentation, and then with that you can choose the proper development of the strategy that you want for, do I build in-house, do I do outsource, do I have a hybrid approach? So it helps to define or decide upon that strategy, and then implementing that strategy, I help with that, and being part of a community helps with that, because building, takes time to build, but there are lots of moving parts, and if you get it right, it can be a wonderful thing, but if you get it wrong, it can go very wrong if you're not on top of it.
Do you recommend bootstrapping vs venture capital raising most of the time, or what's your opinion on that?
Well, if you can afford to bootstrap, because you'll own the whole company. You've got the satisfaction of having built it yourself. You're not relying on others. You're focused on what you need to be focused on, which is getting those first paying customers, to cover your costs. And obviously it depends on what you're building as to how much you'll need, how much time you'll need, how much of your own money you'll need. But if you can bootstrap, and of course, raising funding takes time. It's stressful. It takes a lot of time, and which takes you away from building your core value and meeting your customers' needs.
Sure. And what have you seen in terms of the cool ideas in 2022/2023 when it comes to launching a startup? What are the attractive field? Where's the money at? Where's the opportunity at?
That's a hard one to answer. Because I speak to lots of founders, and it's not all, and I think this has always been the case. There's two camps. There's the deep tech, the cutting edge stuff, your Web3 stuff and your AI, ML, and your augmented reality, all that stuff. And obviously blockchain, and I've worked with founders who are keen to get in the NFT world, into the metaverse world. But at the same time, I think equally, and I'm just trying to think back because I didn't, written this down and done statistics on it, but equally I talk to founders who see a problem in the world, or see a process that can be improved, or something that could be made better or easier or cheaper or whatever. And it's just not deep tech, it's just they're solving a problem. They're creating a new process, or improving a process, or computerizing, making into an app something that is not paper-based, but sort of cobbled together. And so where's the opportunity? The opportunity is everywhere. However, it's very hard to find something that you don't have competition for. So I think that's my answer. There's opportunity everywhere, but expect competition wherever you go.
So what edge can I have in this era as a startup founder? How do I make sure to satisfy my customer, satisfy my team, while having a nice exit opportunity 5 to 10 years down the line?
Well, first thing is know your customer. Speak to the first thing, when you're starting out, speak to potential customers. Make sure that they are on, not only are you finding out if they have the need you think they do and what they think their need is, you're building relationships at the same time. So that will take some of the sort of worry out of, is this going to succeed? And obviously you mentioned having an exit strategy, and that's fantastic, having an exit strategy, but things change, especially if the sales of your product don't go as well as you expected, or you don't get investment, or it takes you longer to get investment. So I would say the one of the biggest issues, and the thing that a founder can most do, is to plan, is to prepare, is to document, not to rush into building product. And you can, take your time to understand as much as you can what it is you're building. And if you can, talk to potential customers. If it's a world you know well, more's the better, because you are your own customer, and that's quite common with founders. They see the problem in the domain that they're in. And don't rush to build product. Get your ducks in a row. Get your designs done. Understand your requirements. Understand your customers' requirements. Understand the competition and the marketplace, and really take the time to do things properly. Is I think the best thing I can say.
Yeah, product, market, founder fit, a bunch of us call it. Also, Ikigai is always a nice way to think about it. Do something that you love, that you're skilled at, that
Yep.
you can make money with, and that the market needs, So if you check those 4 boxes from the start, you might have more chances. Because I started various business on my side, and sometimes it was just to make money. The passion wasn't really there. Some other times the passion was there, but the skills weren't necessarily there, and the skill for the market weren't there. So if you can get these 4 boxes, I think you're ahead of the pack right there. I want to finish this up with personal questions about your business. So where do you want to take the Academy in the next 5 to 10 years?
5 to 10 years, my goodness, I should be grey and wrinkly in 10 years. So I know exactly. I've discovered I love helping founders. Absolutely do. I love seeing software startups created, and I love working with people and helping them. So that's why I started the Academy, to maximize the number of people I can help. So ideally, I do have other businesses. I have, I have another startup. I have 2 startups actually, and I do sort of one-to-one advisory. But I want to grow the Academy so that it becomes my main focus, so that I can maximize the number of people I help and the actual help that I give them. I can focus on adding more content or giving more of my time for coaching. And so that's my kind of short to medium term goal. And for the longer term, the 5 to 10 years, I should probably, as I get older, play a little bit more golf, but I can't see myself stopping, because I love startups, I love helping. So I won't stop. I'll slow down a bit. But of course, the more founders I get helping, I'll probably get some more experts into the Academy as well, to help out, to do coaching calls, to answer questions. So I think it will grow organically over time. And I have a plan to grow and grow and grow, and bringing more help in as I need to.
Last question for you. I'm a founder. I'm deep in the ditch. I'm about to give up and accept a job somewhere, an easy job, a 9 to 5 where I can get paid more. What advice would you have for me?
My goodness me. That is a tricky question. So being a founder, you will be tough and resilient. So you're not going to want to give up lightly. It depends how deep you're in. If you literally have run out of money, if you literally need to get money, I wouldn't necessarily say pack it in. Depends if you've got investment or not. A lot of the people that I know, they do a little bit on the side to fund the startup. And yes, it might reduce how many hours a week you can do on it, and how long it will take to get to market, for example. But I wouldn't give up as long as you are laser focused on your goals, and obviously not every startup has a goal of making a profit, but you know, some are happy to be zero profit, some want to grow massively, but be laser focused on your goals, and don't just give, I would say, don't give up. Don't just give up. Try to find a way to fund the startup, even if it's through doing some consulting or part-time work. But you threw that question at me, so that's literally off the top of my head.
Yeah. No, but that's good. You know, like first, you may have some consulting on the side, although most VCs advise against it. But if cash is what you need and VCs won't give it to you, well, you don't have any option, and keep on testing, you know, like keep on deploying more tests and more tests. Put your eggs in various baskets so that if this fails, then you still have this, you know. I'm not the burn in all the boat type of guy, and I don't need that because I already have ego to keep me in the game, you know. So I will do my best all the time. I will work myself out to make it happen. But if the data shows that it doesn't happen, then it's on to the plan B and then to the plan C, you know. But there's no plan that's called giving up for sure. So very good advice here. Thank you so much for coming today, Stuart. That was super cool. Where can people find out more about you?
More about me on LinkedIn, so Stuart Prestedge, and but more, you can find out about the academy through the LinkedIn page, but it's software startup founders.academy is the main page. But LinkedIn, there's a lot more about me, and also as a founder, I have a lot of resources on LinkedIn that will help you. So have a look at my posts, my features. I try to give as much value to help founders as possible, and that's practical tips as well as more mindset-based things as well, because it's a long, hard road, but well worth it.
Sure. Well, thank you so much, Stuart.
My pleasure. Thank you very much.